You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
Bring it back. Wah, 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 wah. Let's go. Too hot. Too hot.
All right. Welcome back to the Fourcast. Wow, it's the four of us once again.
Give
yourselves a round of applause.
I'm gonna break this shit next week.
Myself, Doc, H-Rap, and Mayhem are back in the building. We do this every week.
Well, hello.
Same time, same channel, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. It's the Fourcast. We review movies, films, documentaries a completely different way, four different perspectives.
No. Absolutely.
We organize the stream, we produce it on air. But tonight's episode is about Sinners, which has been out for a minute.
So it's about all of us.
Exactly. We all won.
Amen. Wilkes is frozen. Okay, there you go.
I'm frozen.
You were frozen.
It was frozen for
You're
a
a
minute.
little pixelated too right now, isn't he? Yeah.
Oh, we can't have that. Oh no.
Yeah.
We can't have that.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a Wi-Fi issue.
Gotta look good for my fans. Hold on, man.
It's cold in the theater, H-Rap. You got your long sleeves on today, baby.
Kind of chilly in Chicago today.
Oh, is it?
Are you back out now, still fuzzy?
70 degrees.
No, you're good.
Yeah, definitely not chilly here.
But you got the wind coming out that water too, though.
I'm not. I was just chilly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you get that in Chicago. You know, it could be 90 today, 110 tomorrow, 69 degrees Thursday.
That hawk, man.
That's what the old folks used to love to call it, ain't it?
That hawk is out there.
There he go again. He done frozen, pixelated.
I'm frozen again. What is happening?
And pixelated again. I know what the hell.
Devil's alive, man. The devil is alive.
You must have got some chocolate icing in your fingernails or something like that.
I dug deep for that chocolate cake.
Yeah, let's hear up and get to the weekend and what everybody did for the fourth. I can't wait to talk about mine.
All right. So Sinners has been out for a minute. It is now on Max. So if you have not seen it, this is your opportunity. You know my deal. You know my MO. If you don't have Max, say you don't want Max for the long term, use your grandson email.
Wow. You use it for your electricity, might as well.
Do it for the Max account and then cancel it. Believe me, I've done it plenty of times. All right, so Sinners, what we're reviewing tonight, I'm sure it's going to get a lot of interaction, so make sure you comment, subscribe, click that notification bell on all of the channels that this is on right now, which is on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, also on the End of the Bench on YouTube and Twitch as well. So we've been starting this new segment as we get started into the show. July 4th recap. Let's kind of go around the room. We're going to go to Dog first. Said he was excited.
Yeah.
First time we remember something.
Well, Wilkes, got to see a little snippet of our July the 4th and the mayhem. We actually named it after him because that's exactly what the hell it was. He should be. Yeah, he brought over one of his masterpiece chocolate cakes over, man. Wow. And I was in the pool. I didn't even see him outside of the pool. I was just in the pool the whole time having to talk to him. What's up, man? You good? I appreciate you. I'll let you later, whatever. And I swear, I don't think he was at home 30 minutes before that cake was gone.
Wow.
Like literally, my sister had to come out and say, hey, I need to cut you a piece because it's about to go. And it was, I think it may have lasted 90 minutes.
Insanity.
And it's a 3-layer, like the biggest chocolate cake you've probably seen in your life.
It's 3-layer cake.
90 minutes.
A 3-layer tour.
Yeah. And as you can see, the water basketball, I don't know if y'all can see that shiner King Buck is working with.
Yeah.
That was from Chico, the producer of this music, the owner, the proprietor of GoldenEye Creations, elbowed the shit out of his daddy, Miss Cheekbone, and the second it hit, I knew that's gonna leave a mark. But he got everybody, so we were playing 3-on-3 full court basketball in the pool. And when I say everybody had bruises and they were battered and bruised and and like I said, I got a shiner to show for it, but it was a blast. And I could barely walk the night of July the 4th. I had to get helped in the bed by the wife. And I said, this may sound strange, but if everybody came over again tomorrow and wanted to do the exact same thing, I'd get right back in the pool and do the exact same thing.
Oh yeah.
I just wouldn't even be any question. Absolutely. It was so bad. I cramp every time we do it. My Mika is already used to halfway through bring me a cup of pickles and pickle juice, sit it right, pickle slices and pickle juice, and sit right by the side of the pool so I can take me a swig and chew every now and then so I can survive. But yeah, we had a blast, man. Again, my mom has 6 sisters and 3 brothers. All but one of my uncles is still around. So their kids and their kids, like, there's just not a house big enough to handle it. Fortunately, because I got the pool and 3 sitting areas, and then the inside and the game room, we have enough room to spread out, But even my air conditioner needs a checkup the day after everybody gone, just to say, man, what were you doing in here, So yeah, we had a blast, man, a blast. Of course, some of my wife's family came over too, so it was a nice mix of the families, and we had a fantastic time, man. Fantastic time.
I've seen some of the pictures. I'm sure it don't do it justice.
Not at all, man.
Man, definitely looked like a good time.
It was definitely house party 2.3.
Yeah. Mayhem got to see. Mayhem been seeing a few events over here, and it's always, when you come, if you're not ready to have a good time. Matter of fact, A-Trap, being, y'all both done seen a couple at least.
Yeah.
And those are tame. The one being and A-Trap have been to, those are tame. And A-Trap birthday got kind of wild, right? I mean, let me put it like this. You want to talk about a podcast? How about standing around my kitchen island on A-Trap's birthday?
Oh,
really?
Imagine the spectacular spectacle that was.
Yeah,
like we could package that and sell it. There's no reality TV out there better than that at all.
Yeah, and
I promise you, from the side eyes to A-Trap doing nigga shut up,
and we had a moment. We were talking about CJ or something. They got heated. Was that the same?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. It's pretty. Yeah, but that was tame considering what we did. But it's all in good fun. My aunt from Panama City Beach was able to come into town. We were able
got something to say about you.
Wow.
She said I looked the fool after that day. 35.
The exact number.
Yeah.
The exact number.
Yeah.
You sound like the Rangers pitcher. It was I think Kumar Rocker or something. He was
Kumar.
Pickle juice.
Go ahead.
Kumar, whatever. He was drinking pickle juice. That kind of helped with his cramps. So it's just it's a real thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you date an old lady. You date enough old ladies in your life, you'll learn the pickle juice trick. They keep them on the side of their bed.
On the side.
When they was young, they kept chocolate chip cookies. When they got old, they keep pickle juice.
They ready.
Them midnight cramps, boy.
in the building. Thank you for tuning in. And Mika, like, this round of applause for you too. Thank you for tuning in.
Look like Blue Streak Freak Fashion Nova order came in. Shit, this is a new profile picture. I see you, Blue Streak.
Looking good. All right, Wilkes.
Oh man. So the funny thing is, leading up to this chocolate cake, once someone, even if they ask me to cook at work, my brain is already in that mode. Yeah. So once we mentioned it last week, my brain was pretty much, how can I kick this cake up to another notch? How can I turn it up? But without not denying what I've done the basics with.
Right.
How can I just tweak it enough? Because sometimes you can do too much, and then it's just like,
I'm gonna tell you right now. Take your fucking hands off of it. Leave it alone. Leave it the fuck alone. We got it. Stay
in the lane. Yeah, stay in the lane where I'm at. Stay in the lane where I'm at. So, but once I found that Ghirardelli chocolate powder and that Dutch press.
Yeah,
I already knew I had a winner, and then my wife is a coffee drinker, so I don't even use water. I use coffee, so I use her coffee to kind of help that elevate the chocolate cake. So I think the secret ingredient there is the coffee in that point, because I use her coffee, and she's a big coffee drinker. But she's even coming around, and my son was here, and Doc got to meet my son, and he's like,
"Oh yeah, that's my first time meeting him."
You got to meet my son, and
he got a wet handshake from me.
Yeah, well, it's all good.
Only time I've given out a wet handshake before, it was way before I got married. I had some dollar bills in one hand and a wet handshake in the other hand. But yeah,
we know.
I'm just kidding, baby. It's just comedy. I'm a professional.
These just jokes, honey.
They pay me to do this.
He's here. He's here next Monday.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed. We did grill and cook here and did our thing but the master of the show was the chocolate cake. I wanted to make sure I put my foot in that. When it's requested, I try to put my best in that cake, because I want it to be a lasting memory when somebody enjoys that cake, no matter who is requesting that cake. So it's definitely one of those. Coffee is the secret ingredient. That is the secret ingredient.
Yeah, I told him. I talked to him that evening and told him. I said, from now on, I need to buy you another. You can't just have no regular cake pan. Carrier. Yeah. It's the tall one. Yeah, so I'm like, I gotta Amazon you over another one, because it's got to be two from now.
Oh yeah, I have to. Yeah, I didn't realize that cake, and I know this is quick. We got to get into the show here, but I didn't realize that cake was gonna go that quick. I was just, once it got cut, I just thought, okay, well, somebody's gonna try it. Next thing I know, the cake is like poof. Like,
see, now everybody knows about it. See, the first couple of times it was a secret weapon. Now the secret
word is out. No more. Word is out. Yeah. But H-Rap, please go ahead.
I thought of the back.
I work.
Damn.
No, double time.
You got time and a half?
I know.
Of course.
Double time.
Yeah. Did they barbecue, or did they have some hot dogs?
It should be cooling out on the 4th of July. You know the rest.
Yeah, man. They should be rolling. Oh, sorry, my bad. I'm sorry.
4th for me was good. We didn't do a cookout, but we went to a place called Laurel. It's in
was Hardy there?
Laurel and Hardy, baby. Oh, sorry.
But it's like a fusion type spot. If anybody's been to Christian John's, also in the Dallas Fort Worth area, those are 2 spots. If y'all haven't checked those out, you definitely need to check those out. But, we went there, just chilled. Really, just appreciated the day off.
Right on.
So I got with some friends and had a good time. So that was pretty much it.
That's good stuff.
Nickel Slick, aka Keisha, aka when you were spelling it backwards, whatever that was.
That matter of fact, Nickel Slick, that sound like a character name on this damn movie, ain't it? Right. Delta Slam and Preacher Boy and all that.
All right, so tonight, once again,
I think I saw her in that juke joint on this night.
Maybe. We took the advice from A-Trap. We got some clips tonight we're gonna play throughout the show. We got so we'll get into it here in a minute. But let's get into some initial thoughts. And when we do this initial thoughts, I got 3 questions also I want y'all to answer, because these were the questions that, like when we talked about a previous film, what was the name of that one? The one with the Tyler Perry joint that we did, and Mayan was looking at the comments. This is one of these films where if you listen to somebody else or you look at the comments, it's gonna sway your if you even go see it. So
Big Blacks, Big Racks.
That's not the one.
You got the face palm. You got the face palm. We 15 minutes in. All right. So initial thoughts. These are the 3 questions, and these are the reason why I'm asking these is because this is what people told me beforehand, which did kind of limit me watching the film or my wife watching the film.
Okay.
Is the movie demonic? Is it a horror? Is it a horror film? And the last one is it a zombie movie?
Yeah. Okay. Who going?
And the answer is really to all 3 of those.
I don't think it's a zombie movie.
It's not a zombie movie. It's more of a vampire.
It's a vampire movie.
Period. Exactly. Yeah.
And I thought it was a zombie movie just based on the the clips of it and what people was putting on social media. So let's go around the room. A-Trap.
No, I didn't think it was a horror movie or a zombie movie. And I think when you look at it, it's a metaphoric vampire movie more than anything. It's a lot. It's a thought-provoking, innovative, creative way to look at things that were going on. And this movie, believe it or not, tapped into something I've said on the Fourcast about 50 times. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it.
All right, Doc.
Yeah. No. Well, it is. Let me just start with the horror part. It is technically in the horror genre. That is how they list it. Okay. So the technical answer to that question is yes. Is it demonic? Let me answer it this way. Life is demonic. If you live a Christian life, it is demonic. You can't have it. That's just what it is.
Exactly.
That's just what it is. If you walk around on a daily basis, whether you know it or not, that's what it is. And guess what? I got news for you. Sometimes people term stuff and couch stuff certain ways because they don't want you to watch it.
Exactly.
Because you're going to be awakened. So like A-Trap talk about, it has thought-provoking metaphors and issues in it. Some of them directly toward Christianity. So guess what? The basic gatekeeper of Christianity, or however you want to, they're trying to protector of Christianity, they don't want you to see this because it's going to make you ask some questions. Right? So is it demonic? Hell yeah, but your life is too. Haven't you paid attention?
Right, exactly.
And what was the other one? No zombies, horror, yes, and demonic, yes. Yeah. The life is. So we can't run from them.
Yeah. It's there. It's there every day. As soon as you walk outside.
That's what it is, man.
Right. Sometimes when you're inside.
This may give you a clue. Sometimes little stuff like that, if your mindset is proper, it may give you a clue as to how to handle them sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely.
Keisha said, I enjoyed this film because it had 2 Michael B. Jordans. I was so thankful to God for that.
That's hilarious.
I didn't watch it. Mika, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now. If my wife watching or not, we went to the theater, and she couldn't make it past the first 30 minutes. But when we watched it at home and we went past that scene, she was good with it. So it really is not.
Which particular scene, Timmy?
The scene when he's playing the guitar. And he's kind of like singing all
and the music comes and stuff. I mean, the like prior musicians and dancers and all that. I think that may be one of the most creative, well done scenes that we've reviewed in the movies this year. Like when we went and watched it, this is my second time watching. I watched it in the theaters as well and watched it at home here for this review. And when we were on the car ride home talking about what you liked the most, I thought that was exceptional, award-winning type shit, man. I really do.
And if we're all, I mean, if you're a musician, if you're anything, you're gonna look at the past and the people that done it before. Mm-hmm. They're gonna be an inspiration to you, whether you want it or not.
Yeah,
and it's gonna want to push you to even be better than this other person.
And let me give a crude recap of some of the studies and teaching that Ben and I were under together about music. Lucifer is the bringer of light. His job was to welcome in the host of angels playing the hell out of that organ. So imagine the best organ player in the church. That's what he did, welcoming in, ushering in the God's spirit to the host of angels, right? And he got a big head and said, they cheering for me and my organ playing and not for God. And that's what got him, then he talked to the other, tried to get him to turn against God and got kicked out and all that. But he still has the gift of music. God doesn't take away your gift necessarily. He may take away your ability to, dish it out. But so Satan still has that. Lucifer still has that here on earth, and he uses it. So music is, you got to be careful with it, but it is a beautiful thing. But just like a lot of things, like the internet, it can be dangerous, so but music is, it's a very spiritual thing, no matter what you're listening to. If you can come tell me your favorite genre, I can tie it back to some spiritual stuff. I promise you. Ask Aretha Franklin.
Wow. All right, Whoops.
This movie was big for me in a lot of ways. The red and blue pill aspect, because one brother wore red, one brother wore blue. They had different paths.
Great pickup, man.
The sunsets, they always represented the eye of the devil, because at night fears came in sudden cultures. He kept showing those scenes of the sun setting. You never saw the sun rising. So it was definitely one of those things where I just love this movie with that aspect. Even when they're talking to Delta Slim, the Pullman Porter train in the background with Pullman on the train. Even as the lady is walking across the street, you can hear the guy talking about, oh, he shot me. He hit me. It's those little small, subtle things. And of course, she looks and he's sitting on the sidewalk. But absolutely. It's definitely demonic. It's definitely not a zombie movie. And I enjoyed it because just of the subtle things of film and just through the years of different things that he kind of tied kind of a yin and yang kind of situation into things. Like Doc was saying, it's definitely demonic. Then you wouldn't have, I don't know, I can't remember her character's name, but you wouldn't have her as a spirit chaser, if you will, if it wasn't demonic.
Annie is her name,
She was already
Mosaku.
She was already playing a kind of a showman and a shaman, if you will, kind of thing.
A witch doctor almost. I think they call it hoodoo or something like that, which is a play on voodoo,
or to play on the gullah people. So it's definitely one of those things where this movie had a lot of things that I liked and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, it was one of those things where I just saw so many different elements. And also another thing that Doc brought out, as we know, Lucifer is he was the head of the choir, as they say, most angelic. Just like the guy in this, he wanted that guitar. He wanted the sound of that guitar.
Because it could conjure up spirits that he needed to have conjured up.
Thank you. Exactly.
And then when you also think about it, him taking 1/3 of the the angelic host. I mean, when the wife looked outside and she seen all those people, when they seen all those people, I mean, that was a lot of the town. So now it's like,
it's big. The movie has so many undertones that people, and I get it. Yes, it's gonna go over your head, And I've said this to Ben before. Sometimes and I've mentioned it to my wife. Sometimes when you're watching something for the first time, you're watching it. You don't realize you're watching it fast.
That's right.
You're watching it so fast.
That's right.
Something.
That's right.
Then when you go back and rewatch it, you're like, oh my gosh. It pops out at you again. So this movie definitely did that.
And so when we talk about, also H-Rap has brought this up early on, probably within our first 30 days of knowing him. He talked about the ancestors and their play in this, and my son talks about it a little bit more, and the answer is somewhere in between, right? So for most people, it is either Christianity and the hard, fast rule of that, or everything else is voodoo and demonic. And when you start talking about ancestors, they try to put it in that category, which I believe the truth is somewhere closer to the center, to where they both can be true. Christianity and our ancestors' influence on that can be true. In fact, if you pay attention to the Bible, it talks about the holy host of angels and our, people who have passed, being in that, we just on the dark side of the moon.
Oh yeah. I mean,
believe it or not. But we got a whole, theoretically, the people who have passed are there looking over us and going to God on our behalf, so to speak, So they just because you start talking about the ancestors and you're conjuring them up. Matter of fact, Roots as a movie did a lot of that, and who would know better, than, you know what I'm saying? They called on the ancestors a lot. So it's not necessarily, they try to make it witchcraft because I'm telling you, the thing they talk you out of the most,
is the truth.
They want to be looking at it a little closer,
right? It's just like the Bible stated: we war not with flesh and blood.
That's right.
It's those things that are unseen.
They doing the Sugar Ray Leonard on us. They doing like this, so you look at this and they pop in with the right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was filmed. And it was based in Clarksdale, Mississippi, but also some of it was also filmed in Louisiana when I looked that up. But I'm sure we kind of know the plot, but I don't know if you want to read it.
Yeah. Okay, so trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their Mississippi hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. This was directed by Ryan Coogler. A lot of people have heard that name before. A lot of big films. It had a budget of $90 million. I would imagine that Michael B. Jordan probably got about 10 to 15 of that. It was released April 18th of 2025 in the United States. It has a runtime of 2 hours and 17 minutes, which was a quick 2 hours and 17 minutes. Yeah. And the genre is considered horror. Or whores, I don't know. It was produced also by Ryan Coogler, Sev Ohanian, and Zinzi Coogler. It had a cast including Michael B. Jordan, as he played two characters, the brothers Stack and Smoke. They did that so well in the movie. My wife thought they were two different people. Miles Caton played Sammy Moore, or the preacher boy. Hailee Steinfeld played Mary. There we go again with the, her daddy was half white, half black. She could pass, and you're right. Wunmi Mosaku, which is Annie, who played the shaman, the witch doctor. She was also the love interest of, I think, Stack, if I'm not mistaken. Omar Miller played Cornbread. He's been in such things like Players. Jayme Lawson played Pearline, the married singer dancer who wanted Preacher Boy. Jun Li played Grace Chow, the sign maker. Yao, which is Bo Chow, her husband. Helena Hu, Lisa, their daughter. Delroy Lindo, the great Delroy Lindo, played Delta Slim. The racist David Maldonado played Hogwood, and Jack O'Connell was the lead vampire Remick.
Yep.
He was the one that reminded me of Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had that down pretty well.
Yep, he did.
Big Illinois, thank you for tuning in.
Now, the Irish twist on all of this, you notice how they was all getting this Irish stuff from time to time? That one lost me, I'll admit,
All right, so let's get to one of our clips. This is the opening, and then we can discuss. Wow.
Powerful, man.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. That opening scene, I'm like, what the hell happened to him?
Yeah.
That was a perfect opening scene because you had no clue
right
what was going on with him. You had no clue why he had a scar on his face, why he holding part of a guitar, what was going on. So A-Trap, I'm gonna go to you first. Give me your thoughts on opening scene.
It was powerful. It lets you know that you were in for a tremendous ride. You knew you were gonna be on a spiritual journey. And it was just different, and it made, first thing I popped up after watching it, popped in my mind was the first will be last and the last will be first. Mm-hmm. Did a lot of spiritual things in this, and I really enjoyed every minute of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think of so they called him Sammy. His cousins called him Sammy. When he came in there, he said Samuel, which is obviously in the Bible. So like there was It was definitely a lot of biblical ties to this. And I would suggest you just watch the movie. Like most movies, watch the movie all the way through. And before you come up with your own opinion of it, don't let somebody else's opinion decide how you feel about the movie.
Right.
All right, Doc.
Yeah, obviously powerful opening scene. But as I watched this, I was thinking to myself, this could easily have been Texas. You know, especially remember I mentioned during the 4th of July, we got some old pictures of my family. I might even try to upload them just to give some quick shots of them a little later, just so you can see. But like some of the buildings, some of the roads, some of the, you know, stuff in the background could have easily been, you know, small town Texas back in 1951. So it was, you know, super powerful. And like A-Trap said, it let you, I mean, it just dug you in. What a way to hook you early to like, how the hell do we get here? You know? And the fact that he just couldn't let go of that guitar. And it makes you think about how old school the church considered music the devil, you know, stuff. Rightfully so, right? To a certain extent, you know. But yeah, it was powerful,
and a lot of it was instruments, really, because they sang, they stomped your feet, they clapped.
Yeah, that's right.
You start bringing guitars, and that's the devil music.
Yeah, especially when it became an electric guitar, that's got to be the devil right there. But yeah, I just thought the scene and the, you know, just the scene that they set, man, with it, you know, it's like when a movie can grab you with absolutely no words, you know, it's just the picture, you know, him driving up in the vehicle, the water, the way the house is set, the look of the old church building. I could literally smell that old church building. If you've ever been in an old church building like that, you know what it smelled like. I could smell it, you know, the old wood of that old building, man. So I just thought it was amazing.
And how many movies have we seen with that church? How many Bible stories our parents, grandparents told us that of a church like that? Really, just the building. There wasn't no fellowship hall, or none of that. It was the building with the pews and a podium. That was it. All right, Wilkes.
Yeah, the scene was very powerful because I remember when I saw it in the theaters for the first time, I'm thinking, you know, as many as vampire movies that I've watched, I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute. If he's got a cut, is he not infected? You know, it's like he's going to kill everybody in his church, or what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You know,
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, you know, and then didn't realize we know the ending because we've watched it. He's in the red car, like I said, red and blue pill aspect in the beginning. We know how it ends. We'll get to that later, but it was of course the prodigal son has returned kind of thing. Or it could be by his stripes we're healed on his face. I mean, you know, it could be a lot of things.
It can be a lot.
The opening thing definitely had me because I'm just like, oh crap, what are we getting into?
Yeah, what exactly happened?
Yeah, I surely thought, I'm like, oh man, he's trying to kill everybody in this church.
He's about to turn on all of them. That's what I was thinking.
Exactly. And then, like you guys just said, I mean, I remember seeing pictures like that, you know, in the family album, and just looking through that, and just a wood frame cell. Sometimes they didn't have doors on. They were just shotgun straight through.
Yep.
I mean, you just saw from front to back. It was just what it was. But yeah, a crazy scene opening. It was just like, okay, well, what are we getting into? And the flashbacks that they had in between, it's just like, oh, great. What is going on? What is happening?
And then there was a line in there somewhere in the beginning where it says, "You keep dancing with the devil. One day he's gonna follow you home." Which is
knocking on the door.
Old. This is a saying as old as time.
Right.
So this was during the time of the Jim Crow, the sharecropping, and that was the era that this was built in, and what it was showing. Smoke and Stack. So that was Michael B. Jordan, and I'm thinking, man, Michael B. Jordan is with this, how he did this and how they filmed it, which was amazing, because normally when you're watching a film and the person's playing both roles, you can clearly see that they got some type of something in the middle to split them up, or the angle that they do it at, you're like, okay, yeah, obviously. But the way this was done, man, was superb.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, man, Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan just went up another notch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The only thing when to being like you were saying, I think what in my head, it's probably like a lot of editing and a lot of like, okay, your character stack was standing here. We need you standing so many feet or so many inches from where that character. Now we need Smoke standing here. We're gonna film, and I think when they go back to edit and piece those together, it's so seamless and so flawless. And that technology has been around for a while, but we all, like you said, you notice when they're not on the same accord there. Because matter of fact, Robert De Niro's got one on Apple TV where where's his thumbs up? What is happening? Robert De Niro's got one on Apple TV where he's playing two roles, but of course, one he's like kind of like
it's HBO.
Oh, it's HBO. It's HBO. That's right, HBO. And he's kind of like he's got the makeup and the prostate. He's got the voice change, but still. The technology has come so far now. It's just like, wow. Like, and then the acting chops to even pull that off. It's just like, that's another the double lines you have.
Guys.
Yeah. You got to remember different lines. Yeah. Insane.
And we definitely agree with you, Poetic, on that. There were messages bigger than the church scene.
Oh, absolutely.
The vampire possession was a form of assimilation to the.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought, to be honest with you, I thought this movie was about racist white people being vampires. Literally, I literally thought that. I was just like, wait a minute.
Yeah, because that's where it started off. As soon as that dude was like, the steam was coming off his back and he jumped down, I'm like, okay, so this is like
not even when I first saw the movie, when I saw the trailer, I'm like, okay, is this about like, are they saying slave masters or vampires? Like, is this
or the KKK? The KKK with the vampires. That's what I was thinking.
I love it.
Yeah.
Here, just so before we get too far away from that opening scene, I want to show you a couple of little pictures that came up this weekend in the family. That's actually my mom when she was about 3 or 4. Wow. That was back in 1954 right there.
Wow.
Same there, about 53.
Yeah.
That's my mom, my oldest aunt, one of their cousins. That's my mom when she was a baby. So that's 1951 for sure. That's my aunt. My mom's got the hat on right there. My oldest aunt and one of my other aunts. So that's about 1957.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Do we hear these dates that Doc is saying?
Yeah.
When you look at another 1951 picture or another 1957 picture, people got in the long Cadillacs, nice house, living good, dressed nice. Are we not listening to these dates and then looking at these images?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some of these old buildings, like I was surprised to see that building that there had brick in it, you know.
Yeah, I see that.
That's my maternal grandmother right there. She passed away when my uncle and aunt, which are twins, were 1 day old, so I never got to meet her.
Wow.
At all. And that's my aunt right there as well. But you know, you can see the picture quality. But some of those old buildings, and look at that old car and the old truck in the background of that building. Their cousins eating probably watermelon or something like that. He ain't focused on no picture being taken at all. You know,
the time.
Look at that old building there behind him, you know.
The way the roof is sagging on it. Kind of way. The time travel that's happening right now.
Yeah, man.
And the funny thing is that I always try to ask my uncle. I did not think to ask my grandparents this question. And I should ask my mom. She's 61 now. I definitely asked my cousin Pee-wee. Her name's Marguerite. We call her Pee-wee. How do you feel about all these advances from those? Because like I said, those pictures are 1957.
Yeah.
When you watch something about 1957, there's skyscrapers, people in suits, people in brick roads, sidewalks, businesses, music, albums are being dropped, being made, tours are happening. But you see how these images, it's kind of like, what are the thoughts that it's almost like these two can't exist, but they can exist?
Yeah.
It's like they can exist in the same place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, even today, in certain parts of the country and in certain parts of the world, it still look like that. There's some parts of Mississippi and West Virginia and Louisiana that are still that way, you know. But yeah, so if you think you're talking about a time travel for you, imagine if you were connected by blood to these folks, what that does to you.
And that's why when I asked my cousins and I asked my uncle, and it's like, man, did you think it would come this far at this time? Because my uncle was born in 1956.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at these pictures in 1956, and it's just like, when I think 1956, I'm thinking of Graffiti Bridge. They're making movies about hot rods and racing down the street.
Definitely parts of Mississippi that still look like that.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where those stark differences, and it's like, but then you tell me go get my bootstraps.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't know if this. Let me see if this picture shows it. No, it doesn't. What you can't see on a couple of those pictures there. My aunt is barefoot in this picture. My grandmother is barefoot in this picture. And so we were passing these pictures around at the house on July the 4th. And a couple of my cousins, when they got a hold of them, like, where are they shoes at? And one of my auntie said, it was 1951. We didn't wear no shoes.
Right.
We probably didn't have but a pair. And we wore them to school. We wasn't going to be outside playing in them.
Right. But then we got videos of people dancing to Elvis Presley.
That's right.
Yeah.
The stark differences.
Yeah.
Like, these things can't exist. Like, what? It's so funny because what Doc was saying, it just takes me back, and I still hear it today. And I remember when I was growing up, my aunt and uncle would come to the house. They might drop the mail off or something. They were like, boy, you better get in the house. You ain't got no shoes on. You going to get sick. But at that time, I didn't realize that. But that could be something obviously passed down.
It is, yeah.
It could be snowing
we wasn't outside barefoot. I mean,
I
was.
But I'm saying, but they have a different understanding of that.
But to my aunt and uncle, they're thinking, oh boy, you out here with no shoes on, you gonna get sick. I never ever got sick once. It could be 45, 32 degrees.
Understand this. She wasn't out there just for no Sunday stroll. She that's a hoe in her hand.
Right, she going to work.
That is literally a garden hoe in her hand. She was out working.
And when you think of that house, there's the two houses that was in those photos. Relating it to the film, that's that similar house that Annie was in.
That's right. That's right, man.
Now what was that Smoker? That was Smoke.
Honestly, when I see a brick structure versus the wooden structure, my mind, unfortunately, it's warped. We know this, but I'm thinking, is that an old smokehouse?
Yeah, it could possibly be.
You wasn't smoking meat.
It could possibly be.
Yeah.
I mean, you were throwing humans in there, teaching them a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they discovered that, this brick's going to hold more heat than this wooden shack.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. My mind,
you're right about that. They wanted to torture us in the worst way possible.
Right.
It wasn't like we gonna make it easy. No, it was to make an example, make a point.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but H-Rap has pointed this out on several occasions when we think about back then, and you could see that they were poor. They had shacks, shanties on somebody else's property, but H-Rap was like, you saw everybody smiling in those pictures.
Oh, yeah.
They were happy, that these photos were taken on an old Polaroid that one of our aunts had gotten by selling green stamps. I mean, by turning in a green stamps that she got.
AMP.
Yeah. I think these were S and H back in our
S and H AMP.
Yeah, and she saved them up from the groceries and stuff she had bought to get an old Polaroid. That was the only camera in the family.
Explain the green.
So if let's say, for instance, some stores have some similar thing even when we were growing up, but if you go spend $40 on groceries, you earned 4 green stamps or 40 green stamps.
Like
they give you one. Yeah, and then it's like a reward program, and you could turn them in for items, and it might have been something like 4,000 green stamps for a Polaroid camera, whatever. Yeah. So that's how she got a camera,
Yeah.
Only one in the family.
Dang. Yeah. So Smoke and Stack, they come into town, and immediately you like, all right, they on a mission. What's the mission? What are they trying to do?
Yeah.
And they they end up getting a cousin. And just the way he talked when he pulled up, they basically they're opening a juke joint. It's the opening night. When he pulled up to that spot and he's like, "Hey, you want to make some money?" Or he said he was talking to the girl. You know who I am?
Yeah.
And he kind of broke it down. He was like, "We talking numbers." This the way he talked, man, was It was perfect. It wasn't like, I always talk about this. Like, is it believable, or are you an actor playing a role, or for us as watching it, do we just believe that this is you, or this is the person?
Right. Yeah.
And he killed it. He killed it.
And here goes Chicago again, right? Rearing its head. And like A-Trap has told us, where you think Chicago people from? You got the Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, they migrated there. So even Sammy, that's where he ended up, right? So I thought that was an interesting dynamic of this thing as well.
Yeah, and so talk about that scene, A-Trap, where hit the horn, if somebody end up out here. Like how that's and the culture part of it, the conversation, that was a great scene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, you're looking at a situation where you got to protect what you have at all times, and I'm gonna do what I have to do.
Yeah.
And it lets you know, like this is the beauty in the South, if you ask me. Weapons are used for weapons purposes. They're not to brandish. They're not to glorify anything.
Yeah.
I keep this gun on me in the event. I keep this ice pick on me in the event. I ain't tough because I got it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use it when I have to, and when I don't, I'm cool. And that was the beautiful part. And Darko just referenced something I have said. That's what I said. I've said it at least 12 times on the show. Y'all used to tease me when we first started this and saying, "Oh, you don't know nothing about this, H-Rap." And the first thing my man get in the car, he say, "Tell me about Chicago. I heard it ain't no Jim Crow." He say, "Man, Chicago ain't nothing but Mississippi with tall buildings."
Mm-hmm.
It is. It truly is.
Yeah.
To this day.
Yeah, that's something I was ignorant to, for sure.
And I think that was the up north versus the down south. And it wasn't like it was, you could just text somebody or you could just call somebody real quick and just say, "Hey, this is what it's like here." There's so much distance in between. You don't know until you're there.
Yeah. Right. My granddad was run out of the South. It's literally probably tens of thousands of people in Milwaukee, St. Louis, East St. Louis, Indianapolis, Cleveland, Detroit.
Highway 1.
Just run out of there. 94 to 24 to get you to Illinois. 94 straight up get you to Detroit. Yeah. So this isn't coincidence.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, Delroy Lindo, Delta Slim, man.
LeBron James daddy.
LeBron James, LeBron James,
LeBron James.
But man, just a classic character, man. He played it. I had no doubt ever in my mind that he was going to kill the role, and he was going to have his impact. He was starting to bring along Sammy. At first, when he seen Sammy, he was like,
"Boy, what you know?
Can't be playing out here. What you doing?
Right.
He's blowing up my spot, right?
Yeah."
And then he kind of changed it. So, Doc, talk about that. His character, his character also evolved, and we fast forward and stuff.
Yeah, Delta Slim, man. Well, Delroy Lindo, first of all, he is a cultural icon as far as I'm concerned. He's underrated, man. We don't give him enough credit, period.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. Because think about it. When have you seen him not kill a role?
Right.
I can't remember one. So his evolution, he personified the tragic life of musicians. He even said, "I ain't never seen no happy musician." So I think he personified it. And the demons, there we go again, that he was battling through liquor, corn liquor, which was another big thing, I just thought, him playing the harmonica, and he also knew how to play the piano, and and how he making a living. He goes, I need to make enough money to buy enough corn liquor. That's what I'm trying to do, But yeah, I think, him going from, protecting his territory to taking Sammy under his wing, is typical of what we see in our culture a lot, and they sometimes maybe just giving you a hard time early on to see what kind of stomach you got.
See how much you really want to do.
My uncles and them used to do it where they walk up to you and they hit you in the chest.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times my uncle done passed away. He walk up and hit you in the chest. He used to call me scrap iron, and he said, "You boy, you solid. You just built solid, and he knew that because he put hands on me, and it was all out of love, but he was trying to see,
Right.
Come on, boy, you gonna stand up, don't let nobody, it was all in love, but that's what his jabs, his hitting in the chest was verbal. As opposed to physical, but it was for the same thing. Let me check your wallet. Let me see what kind of stomach you got so I can see if I can pour into you or if you're worth pouring into.
Yeah. I had a cousin. They called him Little Bit because he was small when he was born, but the dude was he is like 6'7". Mm-hmm. But he used to Ric Flair like all of us in the
sure that's your cousin?
Yeah, it's my cousin, yeah. I don't know how. He the tallest.
Must be on your mama's side.
It is. He used to just Ric Flair slap us in the chest.
Yeah. It was Ric Flair.
Exactly what it was. Now that we've already talked about this, but the sharecropping, but also this was a huge culture movie. When they were driving down the road, it was him, Sammy, Delta Slim, and Smoke, and they're all driving down the road and they're all talking. Like, how many times have we all been in a car? We just like shooting this shit and talking.
Oh yes.
And then they got real serious when he drives past and he sees the guys over here.
That's right.
He's like, y'all be strong. Like that.
That's right.
That scene was powerful.
Yeah, man.
Mayhem, you want to touch on that?
Yeah, that scene actually was very powerful. And back to you kind of stepping back a little bit, we've all been in that car or been on that ride or on that step or whatever and just talking, just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
And him telling that story, which I liked about this one, is because when he was telling the story and he got to Rice, if you were noticing in the background, they played audio of Rice being tormented by the KKK. You could hear the screams as he was talking.
Yeah, him being hung, you can hear him.
Yeah, he was once again demons, spirituals, unseen things that. So it was just one of those, just that scene driving down the road, having a good time, or just kind of getting into a muddy spot where it's kind of like, okay, it's veering off until it's taking me back down to some memories I don't want to relive, but I have to relive them for the other ones to survive. So it's definitely one of those things where it was definitely a powerful scene, and Delroy doing his thing as usual.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where it was like, y'all keep your head up. The gunshot goes, I'll get back to work. Probably shot one of them, who knows? But it was one of those things where it was a powerful scene. It's
how many of them you know? All
right.
of them.
Exactly.
And this was that Sammy visiting his family, and seeing what his cousins are like, who are complete differences than him.
Oh yeah.
And seeing like the other side of things, and this is like the he was only there for one day, but you could compare it to the summer trip. Me going to North Carolina for the month, and hanging out with that side of the family that you really only see every once in a while. So
you related to them like them your play cousin or your real cousin?
You're right.
Oh, they're my real cousin. They daddy, my daddy, big brother, whatever.
Right.
Right.
You ain't nothing like them.
Yeah, those questions.
Now Bo and Grace Chow. I was curious. I don't know if y'all looked this up too, but this was actually based off of an actual store that was in this area. Like during this time, there was actual Chinese couple that owned the store.
Asian.
Asian. It said Chinese when I looked it up, but anyway. But they own the store in that area. So like that was that's another Ryan Coogler.
Let me go off camera for a moment.
That was another Ryan Coogler nod that he's able to just like he did with Black Panther, he's able to bring parts into a film.
What? Pause.
Classic man. You drop a bomb and be like, "What I do?" You dropped a bomb. That's what you did. There are bodies laying everywhere. You don't see this?
Sorry. Read the room, man. Sorry.
But he's able to bring parts into a film that makes you want to look it up and research it, or makes you want to say, "How did you put this in the film? And why did you choose this particular group of people?" Again, that's him.
Well, the thing is, I mean, like, if you just pay attention to, it's a whole lot of symbolism in it, and he's making cultural references. One of the first things that Mayhem touched on with the red and the blue. And if you watch the movie, they focused on the plates of the car. Those numbers mean peace and power, peace and tranquility.
Wow.
Peace and power and peace and focus. Focus was blue, peace and power was red. Then you roll down the road a little bit, and then you see the age, like y'all mentioned, the Asian people. The Asian people played a major role in this because later on in time, these Asian people in the midst of these wars got rounded up. They got rounded up like many people from other cultures and put in camps. So these people have a kinship with us. And one of the reasons they brought up those Irish people, because what people don't know, historically, Irish people were enslaved as well.
Yes,
they were enslaved initially, and that's why this whole concept of race was created, because the Irish and blacks were starting to form a bond, so they had to create white and black. So they
isn't there something with the coalition in the 60s or something like that, or the 70s, the Rainbow Coalition? I could have sworn, like, even during Fred Hampton time, it was there were Asian people that were, there were Irish people that were on board with what was going on and those parties that they were forming.
Legally, Irish people didn't become white until 1977.
Exactly. Correct.
This comment right. The soundtrack on Spotify is newspaper clips from the boat from Ireland discovered in Boston, bank robbery from Smoke and Stack, and gang tensions in Chicago between Italians and Irish mob.
Absolutely.
And one of them even said, one of the guys he shot, he was like, "Man, I thought you was in Chicago working for Capone." Didn't he say that?
That's the North Side mob. Capone is the North Side mob. The Irish mob is on the South Side. Vice versa.
Yeah.
It's all, this movie just had so many connecting dots, and small little nuances. It was pretty crazy.
And then when you think of Preacher Boy, his character, that's like Robert Johnson.
Yeah, Robert Johnson, the blues player.
Well, actually, he made it about Buddy Guy, because Buddy Guy has a nightclub right there, and he opened it in 1992, right where they pulled up at.
See, I thought about Robert Johnson because of the selling his soul aspect. But it doesn't. Like I said, they trap. There's so much.
You can.
I thought the devil went down to Georgia.
Charlie Daniels. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's got so much meat. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. This movie has so many layers in it.
Yes.
And because like as we talk about this, we get into the vampire aspect of it, right? The vampires, if you think about it, man, when the vampires made their move, they said, "Hey, we can go down here. Y'all come with us. We get these white folks."
Oh god.
This what he does is highlight racism and the tomfoolery of racism. And as he highlighted the tomfoolery of racism, he's showing you that it is the layered situation, and other people are being oppressed, and they allow what we title white people to dictate who is and who isn't. At one point, it used to be signs outside of buildings in Chicago, Illinois: no dogs, no Jews, no Italians, no brothers. Right. It didn't say brothers though.
Yeah.
And the Irish made a move. See, this is kind of like what I was talking about today on the episode. The Irish made a move into police work. The Italians made a move into criminality. And the Jews made a move into Hollywood and other entities well high control. We have yet to make a move we've had this illusion of inclusion when everybody else has culturally said, "Nah, we don't want to be included. We gonna do what we do," and that's the beauty in this. Like, hey man, and one thing, like y'all mentioned the train station, the Michael B. Jordan. If you ever get a chance to watch this again, look at his posture when he's walking through the train station. That brother's walking erect as if he was a dancer.
He got to be the biggest person in the whole.
He was the biggest person there, and his cousin, he's walking like this. He said, "Hey, straighten up."
Yeah,
that is fresh out of history from this brother named John Horse. He means a lot to y'all in Texas because John Horse was part in white, part he was part Native American, part black. And he was a free brother, and he used to put hands on brothers for bossing. Like, hey man, straighten up.
Exactly.
The Seminoles, and then he went on over to Texas, talked to Mexicans in the Alamo, and fun fact, the song "Yellow Rose of Texas" that is not about a flower. That's about a light-skinned black woman who he had an affinity for, and white folks. You got Rose, the prostitute, and they trapped John Horse, and that's how they ended up killing him. So that's why I'm gonna watch this movie at least 3 more times because there's so many things that you missed.
Right.
Yeah. That you're gonna see. Like Will said, you watching a movie real fast, you watching it in real time, and things are running past you.
Yep.
And it had like 3 all endings. At the end, I don't know if y'all peeped that. I mean, you had to watch this all the way to the end.
Yeah. And to H-Rap's point, real quick, where he was talking about the Irish going into policing.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we've mentioned the term "paddy wagon" on here before, but that's not where I'm going. But there's a show on right now called The Warrior, and it's based on like Bruce Lee or something like that. But it's set in like San Francisco. But it's one of those things where it's like he's going up against the Irish. They're mostly policemen, and they're being racist toward the Chinese immigrants that are coming in through that port. So it's funny. Like I said, this movie has so many layers and linking points, so many dots to connect. It's crazy. I mean, you could dig so deep into this movie for different aspects and for some time.
The only time I fought the Irish is when I ate that box of Lucky Charms. I was fighting the hell out of them. They're magically delicious.
I had to rehydrate these damn marshmallows.
Right, exactly. You save them all to the end. I ate around them until I got to the end.
Right.
So obviously, the vampires are the kind of the focal point. They start picking people off one by one. And I think the difference in this film and most vampire films is that, they change, or like zombie movies, they change who they are. And in this, they were really the same person. They just had this, I want love, and I want, like you just said, I want inclusion, and I want, and it was hard for them to really figure out at first, like what was really going on.
But you know what, man? People misconstrue the whole concept of vampire. The vampire is a love story in every movie. It is never anything. Okay, let's just go something comical. Vampire in Brooklyn. Eddie Murphy's vampire was chasing Angela Bassett. But the Interview with a Vampire is about homosexual vampires. It's always a love story.
Even if you go
as monsters, but it's a love story at all times.
At the beginning of Bram Stoker's Dracula, his wife, she ends up getting killed while he's out in war and something. Like he comes back and she's like, the bride. Oh, you look like my bride. Pretty Nosferatu, which is pretty much what Eddie Murphy his character, which is interesting that they mentioned Nosferatu.
Yes,
that's what Nosferatu was like. Okay, you look like
wasn't a love story.
But how many times have we seen a vampire turn into a bat and fly through the window of the lady of his love interest?
And what was that? Oh, what was the What was the one with the comedian?
Yeah, Count Chocula wasn't a love story either. It was cereal. It was chocolate. He was in love with chocolate, so it was a love story.
It was a spinoff of what was happening.
He was in love with chocolate. Yeah, okay.
What was? Yeah, of course he did. Chocolate one. What was the other one? The comedy with the vampire in New York or
Vampire in Brooklyn?
Vampire in Brooklyn.
No, there was another one with the. I can't think of the guy's name now. He was a white guy. He played Dracula, but he went to New York.
What is George Carl? Not George.
It's a comedy. It's a comedy.
Yeah.
Can't think of the name of the movie.
Because he played Zorro too.
He played Zorro. Yeah.
You talking about Banderas?
No.
No,
it was because he's famous.
Yes.
For his tan.
Yep. He's famous for his tan. I cannot think of the name of the movie.
This is for the Count Dracula line.
It was like, because he was always like, blah, blah. Exactly. He's like, no, Dracula didn't talk like that.
Two legit serial references.
I remember that, dog. I remember that.
Two legit serial references. They fit too.
It's like with this,
they go
what
great.
I totally appreciated about this, it took me back to the year you and Wilkes were born. It is this movie called The Lost Boys that educated us.
Yeah.
And you have to be. This is why this is so spiritual. Mississippi, black. This is black as the back of your neck, black man.
Yeah.
Because you got people. You can't look. Metaphorically, you can't. You have to invite evil into your life.
Yes.
Don't. The devil cannot make you see, because people think this devil God thing misconstrued. The devil made me do it. No, the devil showed you.
Exactly.
He just stood on a platter for you.
You have to welcome
and I heard this growing up. The devil is the prince of the air.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever you speak,
he got you.
Latch onto it.
That's 100.
And when he grabs it, the tongue can speak curses and blessings.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, whatever times I done said, don't say that to somebody who say something. Don't say that.
Because he's the prince of the air.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you put out there, excuse me, Jesus himself said, I saw him fall like lightning through the sky.
Yeah. Hey, bro. This
domain of the earth.
Movie is so powerful, man. Because this movie is blacker than most people think.
Mm-hmm.
We got it's so many cultural references. Like, okay, you mentioned voodoo. Voodoo is a mispronunciation of that craft. It's called Vodun. And it is the conjuring of spirits. And if you look into it, you find out that the people who defeated, when you talk about, I spoke about this on the show today, General Taki in Jamaica, who defeated the English and started the Revolutionary War. Right. You got John Baptiste and his crew, and Hailee. They practiced Vodun and were able to defeat at the time the most powerful army on earth, the French army. With 200 people, they beat 10,000 people. So what we need to realize is the people who caused this black magic. Yeah. And when you look up the etymology of magic, it's just things that are unexplained. Right. So if you're gonna call this black unexplained or ways of knowing, that's what the Africans call it. Ways of knowing.
Yeah, that's why the Gullah people brought it with them when they talk about Louisiana. It's like, no, there's islands off the coast of North Carolina and South Carolina. The Gullah people, this is what they studied. This is what they believed in. This is their thing.
And when you grab hold to those people, what you find out is they are like a lot of people from North and South Carolina are literally 94 to 96% African.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, A-Trap, it's funny A-Trap said this.
And this your boy, A-Trap.
Get your boy, man. He's out here running amok. When I was and I didn't think about this, but when I was in Maryland, I did not understand where is this dialect coming from. You don't sound like Southern. You don't sound New York. You don't sound Canadian. you've got this dialect that's almost of like a foreign nation and Caribbean. That accent is like just from it's, and a lot of African people live in these Maryland, the Washington, South Carolina. I'm like, it was blowing my mind when I was out there. I was just like,
Wilkes, watch this. Ben can attest to it. When he was at Morehouse down in the A, dudes from Atlanta and Chicago stuck together. I mean, DC and Chicago, we had the same conversation. It would be a million times you running with, like, I'm down there with Craig and some of these guys from DC, and they like, hey man, y'all from DC, and we like, nah. DC. Me. Look.
Yeah, because
Wilkes showed us pictures of chicken with mambo sauce. In Chicago, we call it mild sauce.
Blowing my mind. I thought
it was hot. I thought it was supposed to be hot when they said no. It wasn't hot at all.
I swear, I told H-Rap, Doc, I told Ben this. I was like, when I went back to Washington, when I went back to Maryland, I felt like I was at home for some reason.
Yeah.
I felt like there was something that was, when I stepped into that museum, it was just not even that linking me, but just being in that area, just being in the street, walking out, it was like, man, what's happening right now? It was like I was being teleported, and it was just like there was a connection there when I was there. And it was just like, whoa, this is like too crazy, you know? And that's why I told my cousin when she moved from Houston, don't come back to Texas. Give me somewhere to visit. But who would have known it would have been all Maryland out of all places? The DMV.
But see, that's the beauty in this movie, man. It grabs hope. This movie is literally a tree of black people. And Mississippi is the roots.
Absolutely.
It's the roots.
Yeah.
New Orleans, Louisiana is the roots of the tree. And when you remove those roots, if you ask me, when you remove those roots, that's why people up here are reckless. I've been saying this for the longest. When you watch this movie and you see all the cultural references, I've been saying it for years, that I need to just go down south and put my feet on the ground, on my bare feet on the ground, to suck up some of that spirituality.
You know, it's so
you said that on your visit here several times.
It's so funny
about needing to be here, H-Rap.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, 100%. And it's so funny because it's like H-Rap talking about the roots, and we talk about how, or we've always seen or heard when I'm growing up, we made fun of the ostrich for sticking his head in the ground. He's planting himself back into that point. And he's anchoring himself, because it's like, if I can't be plucked from here, I'll survive, and then I will continue to grow after that. It's almost one of those things where it's returning to that point of like, okay, this is the point of like where I was born. Let me go back home. I'm gonna put my head in the ground. I'm gonna get refocused, and I'm gonna take off from there. It's just like little things is crazy. It's just
see, y'all down there. But a lot of brothers and sisters, they become elders. And they go back home right before they check out. Uncle Willie Lindo, my grandmother's brother. He's like, hey, they was like, hey man, you got about 15, 20 minutes to go. He's like, take me home.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things, like when I'm listening to this and I'm watching this, and this is H-Rap. This ain't I ain't got no documentation. I ain't read nothing, but I read a portion of this. Like, how many people in America know that they pull 18 bodies out that river? I mean, that lake that they grabbed Emmett Till out of. 18 bodies that day.
Yeah.
So, but they ain't tell that story. But you know what they told? They permeated that story about a little boy being murdered. You know why? Because that means everybody in Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit, Milwaukee, they not going back down there. And it's
like H-Rap said, those are the branches. The roots were New Orleans, Mississippi, and Alabama. Now the branches are Chicago.
You won't get back to your roots.
You won't get back to your roots, which means you die. Hey, what happened when you pull a tree out the ground? It starts to die.
You can't replant it because the nutrients are taking it away from its nutrients. You've taken it away from the things that is in the soil.
Because the tree is the one living organism that grows up and down.
Right. Right.
All right, let's we could play one last clip, and then we gotta come back with some final thoughts. This is the ending or kind of one of the endings, because part of the ending was, I'm not gonna play that one because it's a little long, but they end up, Preacher Boy and Smoke end up surviving. And they end up, Preacher Boy ends up coming back home, and Smoke is like, no, I got something to take care of. And then he ends up taking care of the KKK, which was one of the best scenes in the film. But this is the ending right here.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. Joe Blow remains an independent company, and we appreciate all.
All right. We lost Ben, but ain't nothing to it. We know how to drive in this MFO. So, powerful clip. A-Trap's thoughts on that. Did you stick around for that part? Did you miss that?
Yeah. I took a lot from that as well. I mean, because think about it. We talked about how the music, how the devil brings a lot that, it's the minister of music and how he plays a role in this. If you notice, they look like Faith and Biggie right there, and it was 1992. Right. This is the beginning of when hip hop music stopped being about empowerment and pride, and it started being about opulence and style.
Oh yeah, the Coogee sweater and a Jesus piece.
This is the beginning of it,
Yeah, being he lost power.
And then another thing I noticed is this: we were talking about, like me and Wilson was just talking about the roots. Look at which brother was attacked by the devil. One of the brothers went and got some coochie. The other brother went and dealt with somebody who was in the Delta, who was immersed in the culture, and he had her pray on him, pray over him, and protect him. The other one was like, hey, it's about this paper. It's about doing the damn thing. It's going down. So the message I got from this is, hey, man, as long as you stay with God and always rolling with God, he will protect you. If you go into these worldly situations, think about it. The two people who survived the vampire attacks, Smoke, he survived it. But because he just went back and killed the clan, and Samuel, he survived it. Why? Because his daddy prayed on him before he left. He went back to the church before he left, and it's about this cultural thing that we keep walking away from. As you stated earlier, you talked about it's got to be somewhere in the middle. Maybe Vodun has something to do with our spirituality.
Absolutely.
And as you also stated, why you and I stated it 2 hours ago. You stated it earlier this program. Why is it that we're allowing other people to dictate what is good for us?
Speaking of that, A-Trap, something during my research, it said the movie centers a spark controversy due to its exploration of racial tensions, power dynamics, and its portrayal of Christianity and African spiritual practices. Some viewers perceive the film as anti-Christian propaganda, while others see it as a commentary on historical and contemporary issues of race and power. The film's depiction of vampires as a metaphor for white supremacy and its exploration of hoodoo practices have also contributed to the debate. Mayhem, your take on this last scene, and did you stick around the first time you watched it, or did you miss that?
No, I stuck around because there was actually that ending, and then there was another ending after the credits. But no, and to A-Trap's point where he was saying like there was a middle. As you see, Sammy's in the back of the vehicle as they're going down this dirt road. We all know sometimes you come to a crossroad, but you have the red and the blue pill driving you down the center of this road. He's got to decide which way he's going to roll with it. So now it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, my father prayed over me before I left, but I still haven't technically made a decision. I walk with God. I know God, but I'm out here doing worldly things. I'm still down the middle. So it was one of those things where it was also going back to the bar with Buddy Guy. The red pill, blue pill. The light is red. The red light is shining on Stack. Stack puts his money on the table. He tells, he like kind of pays him for the performance that he gave, but it was one of those things, and like he's already drenched in that culture that's coming afoot. He's already in the style and the clothes, and she's wearing the nails, and she's got the short zip up jacket, and the Bugle Boy jeans, and it's one of those things where like now it's like, do you have room for me anymore? Like he said, he didn't like the electric stuff. He wanted the old stuff,
the
again.
real.
He wanted the real. So yeah, no, this movie has so many different layers, man. Yeah. And like I said, we watch movies fast the first time. We watch them so fast we don't realize it maybe. And when we go back and we're just like, oh, I didn't see that. Oh man, I didn't see that.
Yeah, two things that I caught too before we get to final thoughts. And A-Trap, we'll go to you for final thoughts first. Is the one time I think it was Stack pulled off the protective necklace. It was Smoke. Pulled off the protective necklace that Annie had given, and you notice, and they did that in conjunction with the change in the music, to where it's like, okay, now, forget this, I got to go do this on my own kind of situation, right? And then, did you catch this, Wilkes? The roof is on fire.
Yes,
they actually had embers of flames coming from the roof. You understand?
Yes, I caught that. And it's floating away.
Right.
House party.
That was pretty strong. And just the soundtrack of this thing, obviously was fantastic because it was just immersed in music, period, So this is definitely a soundtrack you want to check out. Again, our review of Sinners with Michael B. Jordan as the main character. It is time for final thoughts and mic rating, and we will go to H-Rap first.
I'm gonna give it a 5. My final thoughts was like just the very same as the opening. Innovative, creative, putting this in innovative, creative, trend setting. This dude is the Martin Scorsese, the Francis Ford Coppola of this generation, if you ask me.
Yeah.
He's doing things that nobody's thinking of. He's creating entities that nobody's living on. Yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, they said we got kicked off the air.
Oh, really?
No, I just opened it up. We on now.
Yeah, I figured we were still good. Ben got kicked off himself. We lost power, but I think we're good.
Because Illinois just hit me, but I guess I don't know. We'll wrap afterwards. But yeah, man, I'm giving it 5 mics. I don't see any flaws in it. One of my favorite characters from another series is in the lady Smoke's girlfriend is from Lovecraft Country as well.
Yep. So, which it's funny, H-Rap, you were saying that the background that I'm looking at, it reminds me. I was like, I gotta see Lovecraft Country. I gotta finish it. I haven't finished it yet.
Man, you gotta finish it. Wait till you finish it, bro.
I got like 2 little episodes.
Okay, yeah. You're gonna love the end, and
yeah,
man. But like I said, this is dude. I didn't intentionally do the show what I did today, but after watching this, it is saying how my episode today tied right into this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure
that episode was supposed to be done Friday, but I just didn't have the energy to do it.
Yeah. Wilkes, final thoughts and mic rating, sir.
I thought it was done well. I love the layers, and yes, I am guilty of watching movies fast when I need to review them or if I'm excited to see them. Yeah. So rewatching this was definitely great. 5 mics out the gate. I mean, it's just done so well. There's just so many different things and nuances that you could pick up if you really just take the time to open yourself to those things. If not, you're just going to be like, oh, well, whatever. The movie wasn't great. The movie was terrible. Or I didn't like it. Cool, whatever. That's your opinion. So, yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, Ben texted me. He did give it 5 mics as well. So that's 3 5s. For me, again, final thoughts, race, religion, power, and the role of the media in all of those narratives about Christianity and African spirituality and whatnot are heavily at play. Like I said, I thought it was a fantastic movie. I think it was well done, and like H-Rap probably needs to be watched a couple of more times before we get the full breadth and scope of exactly what's being said.
Right.
I watched it. I had the beauty of watching it in the theater first.
Yep.
As soon as the first credits rolled, we just sat there. It's like we all instinctively knew it's got to be some more,
Yeah.
And I was seeing people walk out, and I'm like, y'all are about to miss it,
man.
And you even had the proverbial people standing at the bottom of the stairs, on their way out to like be like, oh, wait a minute, and they stood and watched the last 5 minutes standing up because they left too early, and some just missed it completely. And then again, watching it at home, I was able to pick up a few more elements that I didn't get in the theater, because I was looking down at popcorn or something like that. IMDb gave it 7.7 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 97%. Fandango gave it a 96%. So I think 2 out of 3 of those are exactly where we are, and where I am is a 5 as well. I don't think they could have done much better with this, man. I think it was just well done, from the illustrations to the dialogue to the just the metaphors. I just think it was fantastic, and can probably be looked at several different ways. Let's see, we got a couple of comments. Let's see if it's any. Okay, Big Enough, it's a beautiful experience watching it with our people in the theater. Yep. And H-Rap hit on it. This is a black film. So so that is it. Next week we are reviewing what's the name of that movie?
Both Eyes Open or something like that.
No, what's the name of it?
Head of States.
Heads of State. Yeah. Let's see if
okay.
Heads of State. Let's see if he loaded Yep, we got we have a clip or a trailer that we'll watch that right now, and then we'll come back and let H-Rap close us out. All right. Did you notice Jack Quaid was in that? That may be Dennis or Randy Quaid's son, I bet.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what?
Yeah, so that should be interesting. All right. So next week, Heads of State. That should be interesting. You got Idris Elba. I'm sure the ladies will be excited about that one. Although I should give them enough excitement week in, week out. But okay, whatever. All right. H-Rap, close us out, please, sir.
Yeah, man. Next week I'm doing the show with my shirt off. Well, I like to thank everybody for tapping in. Hit that like, hit that share, tell a friend to tap in. As usual, subscribe if you haven't to BS3 as well as the Intervention Media. Thank you for tapping in. HYB, Dog, Brooks, and Ben, our fearless leader, Ben. We are out.
See you.
Yeah.
You are now tuned to BS3 Network. BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.